Jeremy.
And there we go. Welcoming back to Paranormal, the New Normal. I'm your host, Jeremy, as always, and it's a pleasure to be back once again. You guys know how much I love doing this. And as always, I'm here to try to bring a little normalcy to this world. Does it ever happen? Lord, no. And it's not going to happen tonight. So keep looking if that's what you're looking for. But to join me on this epic quest, as always, is a guest. The guest tonight is one I've been looking forward to for the last week or two since we booked this. Actually, one of the first new guests I've had since I came back. So I am joined tonight by Raven Willow, psychic, empath, and so much more. But we're gonna get into all that, so I'm not gonna start. I'm not gonna start naming all her abilities right now. But how are you doing tonight, Raven?
I am doing good. Hello, everybody. You are probably gonna get, an education, and some of you will probably be like, "What the crap is that bitch saying? What?" And that's okay. I'm cool either way. Yeah.
Well, they're used to me saying some whacked out conspiracy ideas, so it's not going to be that outside the norm. But, well, the first question I ask every guest on this show is, what got you into the paranormal? Spiritual, supernatural, pick your word. But
Well, I was born with it. So when you have kids, I don't have kids, but if you have kids and you have kids telling you there's a monster in the closet, there's a monster in the closet. Yeah. And then the first real realization of it was like 7 or 8. My great grandmother died, and she was by my bed every night in like this cardboard box, but her gray hairs were sticking up, and I was like terrified because I was a little girl, so I'm like this, and it was like, but now looking back on it, now she was confused. She didn't know she was dead. She was like, why am I in a box? And I'm a medium, but I was a kid, so I was like, oh, so it's always been there.
Well, yeah, I mean, so how did it develop? Because I always like hearing the stories of how it develops when people have it from the day they're born. Because everybody's different. Like, everybody develops it at different ages and different levels.
Yeah. So it depends on what you go through in life too, how you progress. So if you're with the wrong people and you're not free to be yourself, it's going to take you a lot longer to get there, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because they're impeding you. Like if you're with a narcissist or something like that, you're not going to get there because you're stuck. So you got to get in the right headspace, and then you start to go really quick. But you always know it's there, and you can never get rid of it. And people that try to get rid of it end up having like anxiety and all kinds of craziness, because once the dead know you can see them and hear them, they're like pounding at your door all the time. So yeah. And when you don't have like parents that understand that, you're kind of on your own. Yeah.
Yeah. Usually, from what I've heard and from what I heard mainly, it falls into 2 different categories. It's either your parents nurture it because they had the same gift and they realized that no one helped them when they were a child, or they're religious or something along those lines, and they just tell you hush about it because they don't want everybody else to think their kid's cuckoo.
Yeah.
So that's usually the 2 roads it goes down. And
the thing is, though, psychic abilities run in families. So, like, my mom is very psychic gifted, but she chose to go down the religion road, so she blocked herself. So, like, I have a long line of, like, in this lifetime of, like, people who are spiritualists in my family. Like, the whole, like, doing seances and that whole thing in the Victorian area. Yeah, like, it runs in families if you have the abilities.
Yes, which it never ran in my family. I can tell you that much. So, unfortunately, I don't know. I've been told to have some ability to sense things, but I am in the midst of a spiritual awakening, as from what my Reiki master tells me. So, it's They say a lot. They say when you go through the awakening, it's like your life goes in chaos mode, and that's pretty accurate lately. So, I maybe I'm open.
You sure your house isn't haunted?
It is.
I could see stuff moving behind you.
Oh,
I don't know how you're quite comfortable sitting in there, but okay.
this is my podcast studio / garage. I'm always sitting here. Like it's just
you need to cleanse that sucker.
I actually just saged and seared it the other day, but so
Yeah,
I think right now they're all just like walking around like ghost stoned.
pretty much. Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it is what it is. It's from what I've been told, it's the previous owner who built the house. So
No, I see multiple people.
well, I mean, I was told it was him and his wife by paranormal investigators, but I've also been told by other mediums and psychics on the show that there are other spirits that come and say hi to me here and there, and relatives and whatnot.
Yeah, you have a herd of people around you right now.
Well, I'm down with that.
So
What's going on? What's going on,
psychic.
Casey? I wouldn't say I'm psychic. I wouldn't want to insult the psychics I know by saying that, but I maybe have a little bit of a sense, and it's starting to. Since I started doing this podcast, actually, it kind of like has been awakening slowly, and like right now, I got the feeling right here where I could tell they're in presence.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those like things where it's, they're here, and they're not bothering me, so I'm not gonna bother them.
So if you can sense them, you're at least an empath.
I mean, possibly, because when my life coach / Reiki master Jazzy does meditation stuff with me, like I don't see light or anything, but I get like feelings, so like throughout my body. So it's just one of those things where she said like you're not gonna be able to see things probably ever. You can feel things around you, you can sense them.
Yeah,
which makes sense because when I was house shopping, I definitely walked in some houses and I was like, nope.
That's an empath. Yep.
And
welcome to the club.
Thank you. And speaking of haunted houses, looks like evening at the movies is gonna be doing The Shining next week. Oof, that's gonna be a good episode. Crappy movie, good book, great book, amazing book, but movie doesn't hold up. But
no.
But I want to watch. I gotta watch one from the '90s still. I want to see if it's even worse. I imagine it's gonna be worse, but I can't.
I can't do that one. The Stanley Kubrick already disastered that one. So, yeah.
I respect his wife's cigarette ash. I respect that. Everything else about the movie, I don't respect. They took out the best freaking scene. They kill off the freaking character who saves the day in the books. Like, come on. Spoilers, I know, but it's been like 30, 40 years. Get over it.
I know, Stephen King. Come on. He's written like 100 more novels since then. Yeah.
I would gather 500 probably.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. At the dome that was like this big. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they did turn it into a TV series, so of course. But and the second question I ask everybody in the show always is, what experiences you had? And yes, you're a psychic empath, so there's going to be a lot of experiences. But what would you say was your most, when someone who has experiences, I usually phrase it this way. Part A is, what was your most like horrifying experience you've had that actually like had you a little bit shook?
Well, that one involves an alien, so
I like where this is going.
Go there? Okay.
I wouldn't be a host of this podcast if I said no to that.
Okay. So, I mean, I've seen like what people call demons and whatever you want to call them and that stuff, and had to deal with that stuff. Every psychic does. It's just there. But I won't go into the personal journey of why it had to happen for me. It's like another episode for another time. But I know all of my alien lineages, and there's a lot. And I know what I am in all of my lives. So to put it this way, I ripped a hole in space and time to be here purposely right now. And there's something that I have to do. So I have, and I also, because of life and whatever I have, I don't run from anything. I will literally like focus on it first and like, what am I looking at? And, try to figure it out first and deal with the crisis and then freak out after. But so what happens is I'm Lyra Vega. And so you can look that up, your people. That's the ones with they look like lions, but they have human-like bodies. They're depicted in Egypt, the Sphinx, and I can go on and on with history. I'm a nerd of history. But there's specific health problems that you get based on your alien lineages.
I've
And
been
one
told
of
that, yeah.
yeah, and one of mine is kidney problems. And so my kidneys hurt a lot. And so I'm constantly, they remind me to drink Gatorade. And it's the mantis people that do it for me. And when they touch you, it feels very pokey, kind of like, you're getting a shot. But they are the healers, and they're the ones that are like reminding me to, do this. But it's always like you feel like the love vibe of it, right? Well, I was being told this, but all of a sudden I felt mocked. And nothing makes me madder than somebody like insulting my intelligence or mocking me. But completely out of character, I literally went from like just sitting there drinking my Gatorade to like full on like rage. And I'm like, because I'm very trained to like process, is this my emotion? Is this somebody else's emotion? What is going on here? And then I, like, in my mind, it clicked. I'm being mocked. And then I focused in on the energy and I was like, you're not what you say. And as I focused more and more, I actually realized this thing was actually like in my dimension. We're in the third. This came from the ninth, was in my space. So when I was seeing it, I was seeing, and then I could feel it, and then I had to deal with it. So it was trying to mask itself as something else. But because of who I am, and then like my spirit animal is a raven, I can see through anything. So I could see past it. And it looked like what people, like when you watch videos of what people call like brown noise, like but a little bit lighter. But within it was every single thing wrong with the world, all at this. I mean, anything you can think of, from the tiniest little resentment to the worst thing you could possibly think of. That's what they do. So they are the ones that control the demons and the negativity and the war and the rage and all of these things that humans are trapped in. And I felt that all at one time. And I'm an empath. And so, like, but I knew what I had to do at the moment and I had to stand up to it. And it was part of my personal journey. So I literally had to get in its face. Sorry, I'm holding crystals. But yeah. And then afterwards, and it left, I was like, oh my God, like freaking out, and like my phone's flying out of my hands, and I'm trying to like call my, one bestie psychic that is literally on the same level as me. And I'm like, telling her what happened. And yeah, that was the great, like, it took me literally all day and the next day to like mentally come down from that. I was like, what just happened? I don't even know. What was that? Yeah.
Wow. Well,
So
that's intense. So would you say you are a starseed or an indigo child, whichever term you prefer?
well, indigo children, I am an indigo child. I was born in the 70s. So that's when the indigo children, you gotta love our 60s, the first age of Aquarius. Second age of Aquarius is coming up in 2025, by the way. Be prepared.
I've heard.
But I am an indigo child, but I can't remember the second part of what you said. I am a starseed, and
yeah.
I am a part of the Anunnaki. I was at an Atlantean. I understand like the wheels of time, the universe, and how they work, and it goes on. And so I literally had the ability to like face this thing down because of who I am. And when you go through your past lives and your Akashic records, even if they're past lives on this earth or another world, it impacts your life here. It still impacts your personality. You still remember those things. You just have to find them.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's actually funny because I was supposed to have one of my first 10, 15 guests, one of them was supposed to give me a past life reading at one point, but then they had a family emergency, and that was like a year ago now, and it just never happened. And I keep saying, I've said in the show probably 50 times, I need to reach back out and get that done because I am so curious at this point because my family does not talk about that type of stuff at all. We were brought up religious, and even though we're not all religious anymore, it's still not something like that just comes up in common conversation. Like it's just
that's the sucky part with family when you're like that's the sucky part about religion is they just can't comprehend that they really are expecting everybody to be like them. But then you get, someone like me, someone like you, like whatever, like my neighbors are Islamic. I consider myself pagan because I'm a nature girl. So that's the only reason I say that. But we go outside and have barbecues together. Like,
of course.
You got to start to like communicate with people and stop with the hate and like, just,
No, I don't find the hate is commonplace anymore. As much as it was when I was a kid, even I find that now it's just more. Now I see it more as possibly not a motive, but a method used by the secret societies and the government to control people.
Oh,
I see. Yeah.
It's more of get that. Into the real actual history of that. I'm an actual history nerd and have a history degree. Yeah, they're the ones that infected the Black Panther Party with heroin because they actually got things going for Black people and were taking care of them, taking care of their neighborhoods and all of these things. That's what they did to them. And then part of the Iran-Contra affair, that imported crack cocaine into all of the ghettos. So what they did is take all the jobs away from the Black and brown people that were working in the factories. They finally had a chance to get middle class. And then all of a sudden they were like moving into white neighborhoods and everybody's like, oh, damn, we don't like this. So they got rid of their jobs, sent them somewhere else and infested their neighborhoods with crack.
Yeah, there's actually a good show on TV called Snowfall about that right now. But
yeah. And I'm not even going to go into what they've done to the natives because I have Incan in me, and I'll just go off on a soapbox for that. So yeah.
I mean, as much as I truly wouldn't mind that, yeah, that's like a 3-hour show in itself.
Yeah.
The tragedy of Native Americans and what the horrible white man did to them. It's truly a 3-hour episode, and I bring it up on the show all the time, but it's just I don't know.
Well, just think how much time we have lost just from Catholicism.
Oh yeah. Oh god.
It took centuries and centuries and centuries away from us.
Oh, it did. I mean, it's horrible. It's horrible. I barely can't stand even like watching. I'll watch movies about that type of stuff, but it hits me in a place. I'm just like I can't. Like it's like no this.
And
I mean. False history.
Pay attention to the things like, especially on Earth history. That's a good place to start finding your past lives. The things that you are interested in Earth's history is like normally 95% a past life of yours. So even if you're not a history nerd like me, like the things that you are interested in, you've been there.
I was always interested in the Italian mafia in the 30s and 40s and 50s. So if I was actually there, that'd be pretty dope. But
Like that, and that's the thing too. People need to prepare their psyche for when you come to someone like me. You need to remember we're going back through time. You didn't always live a peachy keen life. You know what I mean?
God,
Like you might learn you were like Jack the Ripper one day, and I don't know, Queen Mother, whatever, the next. So you just gotta like go with it.
Honestly, nothing would surprise me. It really wouldn't. I don't think I could be surprised with what came up. It just be interesting to know. I mean, I'm into the paranormal. Was I part of some occult group in the 1800s that was studying this stuff or something? Like, I mean, I'm spitballing it now, but still, I mean, that's what it is. Like, it's just, I could picture all things that I know interest me. And I'm like, there's so many possibilities from that little bit, though.
Yeah.
There's so many possibilities.
Well, if you asked me about the alien thing, like I went in and just got certified to do Akashic records because I already was there. Like even as a little kid, I would say I'm an alien. And like growing up and even now, I like whoever's supposed to be with me as like in a relationship, they would have to be like an alien to like get me and understand me. And like now that I'm like at the place that I am, I understand that those statements are literally true because that's what I am. And so, I mean, I can't just go out with some Joe Schmo that just wants to watch football all the time and expect them to understand me. You know what I mean? This is not going to work.
Of course, I mean,
Yeah.
there are plenty of other star seeds and indigo children out there nowadays, though. Yeah. So, I mean, it's possible the person you're supposed to be with, soul wise at least, is out there. I mean, they're definitely out there somewhere, but who knows? Or they could be in between reincarnation cycles. Who knows?
Well, I know where my twin flame is. He can come through dimensions, and we talk often. And I know who the person is, but they're just not here yet. So yeah, you get info as you go along. But yeah,
interesting.
But it's important for people to actually like wait and contemplate who's actually right for them, and that means finding yourself first.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's just a disaster.
Yeah, been there, done that many times, and I finally found the right one, but it just took a long time and many years wasted and many amounts of money wasted on other women who didn't deserve it. But whatever. It's past. The past. But
I got the douchebag lineup. It's okay. Whatever.
Yeah, everybody has their hall of shame for people they dated in the past. Right. But when it comes to past lives, have you ever done a past life or an Akashic record for somebody who was actually someone famous in the past? Like someone well-known?
Well, I'm not going to say anybody's name because I don't talk about my clients. I kind of treat it like HIPAA.
Yeah. You don't have to tell us their name. Yeah. That doesn't really matter.
One of my past lives was Anne Boleyn, and one of my clients, as we've gone along, and then I like saw a sore on the leg, and like I already knew all of her past lives and this earth. She's a male and very battly. But then as soon as I saw that, like literally I was like, oh, and then I also saw that she was part of King James, whole rewriting of the Bible and going out and hunting females and killed me as a witch. So I've literally told her, bitch killed me twice in past lives. So, but like celebrity, I hate to say celebrity because people are just people, And when
Yeah.
you're a medium, like you'll get a whole crowd of people, you can pick up on things wherever you go, but you get certain people for a certain reason. And I did get a celebrity, and I got him because I knew how to help. And I got Chester Bennington, and that was heavy.
Oof.
But I knew how to help. I don't know why, but I just did. And
Nice.
so he pops in and out of my life just to say hello. So yeah, that was a shocker because I was like, am I looking at like who I'm looking, like, but they're people. So it's not really because he was a celebrity. It's because I was the one that was supposed to help him, just like any of the other people that I've helped move on. Like there was a gal here that it was in the news, so I can talk about it because it was public. But she was transgender, and I was going to work. I was working outside of the house at the time. This was a few years back. And this weird song from the 80s, like, I mean, I'm an 80s child, but this song is like from a cheesy rock band. So I'm like, crap, is this doing on my like playlist of what, it was like that Don't Close Your Eyes song. I can't even remember what stupid 80s song band sings it, but it's about suicide. And I was like, and it was really impacting me. And I was driving past this place where there's like a gas station and this old drive-in that is not there anymore, but like the cement wall that held the screen is there. And it's just kind of this little nook on the side of the highway. And then my work was just down the street. And then later on in the day, you go to work, I go to lunch, come back, and I can't get through. And there's fire trucks and ambulances everywhere. And I've worked in the medical field, in EMS and paramedic and things like that. And the way that they were positioned, I'm like, this is a bad scene. Like when they're positioned like that so that nobody can see anything, like there's body parts everywhere. So what she had done was step in front of a dump truck that was coming at 60, 65 miles an hour to kill herself. And I got her. So you get the people that you're supposed to help. And it's weird, and I don't know how it works, but that's the way it works.
I mean, it makes sense that fate would connect people that way. It makes sense to me. But that's wow. That's if you want to go horrifically, that's one way to do it, I guess. Oh, geez.
Yeah. I when I helped her move on, I literally had to kill the male half of her because it was killing her. So I had to do that to set her free. So it was crazy. Yeah.
Now, see, if all the people that are against transgenders could hear like stories like that, they would maybe think twice before they say something stupid again.
I would hope so. Because sorry, I'm an empath. I cry a lot.
It's all good. It's all good.
She had a hard life. Yeah.
I would assume if she's willing to go out that way. Jeez.
Yeah.
That is. Wow.
Yeah. I didn't mute you, did I?
No.
Okay.
No, it's all good.
Yeah. So you get, you just go with what comes at you, and you get those negative things, and you got to deal with those too. And anybody that has any kind of attachments or dealing with any kind of negative stuff in their house or whatever, the only way to deal with anything like that is literally with true love. And if you do not love yourself and have self-love, you're in trouble because you're a prime target for those kinds of things, because they know you can't get out, because they know you don't know yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense, and it lines up with everything we've all seen with people who do these type of tragic ends and meet these tragic ends. I mean, there's something negative in their life, whether it's just emotions or whether it's something otherworldly that's attached to you that's bringing you down. You never can know until it's too late, usually. unless you actually
Yeah.
seek the help you need. But
Yeah. You got to like know what, and see if you don't know yourself, then you don't see changes going on within yourself. Like if there's something negative around me, I'm like, immediately, I'm like, oh, no, and bye, you know. But
yeah.
even people, I'm like, why birth? Like, you know, yeah. But if you
See
don't
that?
know yourself, you're blind.
See, I think that's part of me being like my empath side, because I always knew myself well enough to know, like, if I got a bad feeling from somebody, I would never hang out with them again, even as a teenager.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I could sense just like, this person's going to bring me nothing but trouble if I stick around. So yeah, I'm getting out of this situation as fast as possible. But
yeah,
and
exactly.
then there are plenty of times where I didn't, and I lied to myself. But of course, the inevitable happened, and bad things occurred because of it. So
Exactly.
but
And
I mean,
you gotta like own up to those things in your life. Like I married the wrong person. I'll never get married again because hey, if I'm gonna pay to break up with someone. But anyway.
yeah.
And it's a religious thing. And anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did it too. And it,
I mean,
definitely sucked the life out of me.
Luckily, I never married any of those people. Though I only got married once, and I'm still married. So that one's the
Well, you got lucky.
Yeah, I mean, it's the past ones I was smart enough not to marry or ever get close to that point. Where those are the ones that were, woohoo! Yeah, those are the ones I want to keep a 20-foot pole between me and them at all times, at least. So
yeah, empaths are like a beacon for narcissists and sociopaths and psychopaths because we're just like big mush balls that just want to help everybody. And so they're like, they could just like sense us from 10,000 miles away. So you gotta like always be careful.
See, in my early 20s, I met my best friend I ever had in my life. And me and him were friends for, actually, I met him in my late teens. So we were friends for a good like 6-7 years. Like we lived together at the end of our time together, basically. And I moved away to a different state, and he stayed living where we were living. And he ended up dying in a fire. He was very sick, and cops tried to say it was heroin, but he never would touch that stuff, so I doubt it. I think he wasn't alcoholic, so I think he just drank himself to death. And like I think that's basically what it is. He got himself sick with it, and at that point, like I think he basically was passed out drunk when the oven caught fire, and he just didn't wake up when it happened. Because I got a call the next day from my brother, because our father just passed a few months earlier, and we owned the property at that point. So my brother called me. He's like, "Hey, I got Town of Ulster PD calling me. They think the trailer burned down, and they think Brian died." And I give him tattoos they had to like identify his body. But
oh man, dude.
But the point of this story is he was very much a sociopath because of his upbringing. He was a sociopath. Like he was brought up by a very abusive, hardcore Catholic father who basically made his wife give birth to 8 or 9 or 10 kids, however many siblings he had. I never even met them all. And then after that, he kicked his wife out of the house, and he just raised the kids the way he wanted, making them fight each other when one of them was bad or abusing them himself. Like he just was not a good man. Yeah. I'm not going to name names, of course, but he was just not a good man. Yeah. So because of that, my friend grew up a sociopath because he felt like he could trust nobody in the world. And I feel like I was drawn to him, though, and I didn't get away from him because I feel like I was there to help him and like to help him realize he could have someone he could trust and believe in, and someone that would always have his back. And that's the kind of friendship we had. I mean, if one of us needed to borrow money from the other, we always borrowed money from the other because we knew eventually if we needed it returned, it would happen as well. Like it was a very mutual friendship, and I made him realize that he doesn't have to kind of be alone in the world anymore. Because I mean, he would never seriously date women, and actually he seriously started dating the first woman he ever did when I knew him, like right before he died. When he died, they were still dating. But I mean, and I kind of think I helped him get to that point because I showed him that people could be trusted sometimes. I mean, because he was famous for his one-night stands or friends with benefits type thing. Like he wouldn't go beyond that ever because he didn't trust people. But so, I mean, I feel like sometimes we're drawn to these people because we're supposed to help them. I mean, in a lot of cases, we have to realize that's not going to be a viable solution for them, even, and that's just back away before you get hurt yourself. But sometimes
there's a difference between helping people, but people have to help themselves.
You can't enable them. You have to help them. There's a difference.
Yeah, like they have to do it themselves. And even all of my clients, I'm literally like, I'll tell you all of this information that if you don't want to change your life, then it's your choice.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what it is with everybody. Like, you can only help someone so much, but if they're not willing to change or to work on themselves, then you better get out of there before they bring you down too, because negative things attached to you if you're around someone like that too long. But I mean, it is what it is. So I saw on your site that you also do tarot card readings, which tarot cards, I've had a few tarot card readers in here. Some of them have even written books about it. And I mean, it fascinates me because to be able to use cards, I mean, yeah, they're specifically designed to foretell the future in a way or foretell someone's life. But the fact that they work so well, because I've had enough of them done to know that they always are accurate to what's going on in your life at that point or what might be coming up in your life. Like, they're always accurate. And it mystifies me how it works. Like, it's like,
so you're not reading the cards are reading you.
Well, yeah.
So like, and everybody does tarot cards different. So like I have a deck. This lady went from like total awesome, like people like me and you, to crazy Christian, but Doreen Virtue, maybe you've heard of her. She wrote a lot of books about ascended masters and different things, but she made a bunch of different kinds of tarot cards.
Yeah.
And so I still use, it's got fairies on it because I'm very connected to nature, but I also have the normal deck because sometimes I just can't use like the nature deck on people. But I literally, like, some people just shuffle and like pick and do like the layouts. I literally span them all out, and there's a lot of them. And I have to put my hand like and just do this over each one with my eyes closed and just wait, and it'll like push on my hand. And it depends on what my client's going through. Like, sometimes a lot of them come. It's like dum 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 dum, and but sometimes it's just one, and sometimes it's three. So I don't do like the spreads and that whole thing like people do. I literally focus on the person. So I'm already focused on their energy and I'm already connected to it. So that's what I'm pulling from the deck. So I just wait for it to push on my hand. So that's how I read them.
Interesting. I mean, yeah, I've known people that, like, I literally have seen people just like throw the deck on their table, like not even spread them out, just throw them on the table, and then they kind of just sense which area they're supposed to go into.
Well, even before people show up or on Zoom or like whatever it is, if you're local, they come to me. Like, I have a book and it's got the dates and the client, but I do automatic writing before they even come. Like, even before I even meet you, I will have pages on you. And then like some stuff I have to like, oh, nope, that's not them. Because once you open up, you get other stuff. And they're like, you're like, some dude named Frank, and they're like, no, okay, that's not you. Okay. But the rest of the stuff, they're like, yeah. And so I get stuff before I even meet the person for the first time. And then as we go along, they just get like deeper and deeper because they're going on this journey. So I do automatic writing before every client.
Nice. I mean, it makes sense. It's same as astrology. I've had a couple different astrologers on here, and they all astrology, right? Am I saying the right thing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, because I always get astrology and astronomy. I always end up messing up. Yep. That's my name though. Yay! But I've had astrologers on here, and like they all have different methods of doing astrology. I mean, there's vibrational, there's classic, and then there's a bunch of other ones I don't even know the names of anymore. But there's just a lot of different types of every practice in the paranormal field. There's a lot of different types of it, which I had someone say in my other paranormal podcast I do every week, they're like, how can there be so many Reiki masters out there? I'm like, because they all practice different types of Reiki. It's not all the same. Like, not every.
I'm a Reiki master too, but I don't. Yeah, I'm very different than everybody else because I'm like, you're not just getting Reiki'd. I'm literally reading you. So I go into people's like subconscious and I'm reading them, and I'm taking them through this process to heal. So my Reikis are intense. It's not like, let's just go lay down and listen to some music and have a little relax.
Trust me. I worked out a deal with mine where like I do ads for her in every one of my shows, and she does her service for me basically. But she's the same way like that. Like if she was just one of the ones who did that type of like lay down and listen to a meditation type stuff, like which I do that every night, but that's only one part of it. And when she actually is doing her work over Zoom, like it's just like I can feel things draining on my body at that point. So it's what I never truly thought possible or believed in that it was truly possible until I had it happen. Like until I had it done to me, I never knew it was possible. I always support the idea that it could be
over Zoom or just the energy work.
The energy work.
Okay.
The energy work, like I never imagined it could be possible to feel it actually, like with someone on the other side of the country doing it. Like to me, that just seemed illogical and not scientific at all. But it kind of made me think, like, I mean, because I've always been a scientific person, even though I believe in every cryptid known to man. But I've always been a scientific person. But it's still like sometimes I have to get like kind of energy wise slapped and be like, okay, maybe there's more to this life than I can put into science's name. So
like you just have to. It's just learned things. Like you're like, well, because of my spirit animal, I could see through anything, so I can remote view anything. Like I've had people that needed me to help with their haunted whatever the crap, and I was on Zoom telling people where to go and what to do and what was happening, and so it was.
I can imagine. Which, funny enough, since your spirit animal is a raven, is there any connection to Odin there by chance?
No,
like it's
no. That's definitely female. I've been female in all lives, even other universes.
I mean, I didn't. Well, then again, who's to really say that Odin wasn't a female? I mean, stories, especially back then, even if it really was a female, like they would have changed it to be a guy anyway, because that's the way society was back in those days.
They would have, just like Caligula, and Archangel Gabriel is actually a woman, and I get your point. I just don't know that much about Odin because it's I don't get like too much into like, I like Viking history, but like the lore and the people that get into like Thor and stuff like this, like it makes me giggle. Like
if you never actually listened or read the true stories of Thor and Loki, you are missing out on some of the greatest storytelling ever written, or ever, I should say, ever spoken, because it wasn't written down for centuries.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, where are you reading this? Because it was never written down.
I mean, it's been written down since from the oral traditions, and a lot of these, like, I'm not talking about the Marvel versions that destroy the actual mythology, but
no, like actual Norwegian Viking, yes.
Mm. Huh. I mean, and you have to find the versions that will tell you what parts were added in by the Christian monks to try to make Thor seem weaker or something like that. Like they try to make all the gods, they try to make all the Norse gods seem like not as omnipotent because they didn't want them to overpower their god. But so I mean, it's I'm a huge mythology buff, so I love like all that stuff. Like to me, it's sacred.
Dude, we can combine history and mythology talks on here too.
Oh, I think it was you that actually listened to one of those, because I've done multiple episodes with people who are like, doctorates in mythology, and like we've talked about like mythology and history and how it combines in the paranormal side of it all. Like it's interesting. It really is.
I share a lot of Anunnaki history stuff on my Instagram page. And so it kind of shows like the same types of symbols carved into all kinds of monuments all over the world. And that was part of what I did in that lifetime, was link all of those places, like temples in Cambodia, the pyramids, temples in the Aztec world, the Incans, all of the people through the ley lines. So that's why you see the same symbols all over them.
Oh, I mean, I am a huge believer in ancient aliens, and I mean, not the show, but the actual idea of ancient aliens. I'm a huge believer in. Like, I can't stand the freaking show. That guy's hair pisses me off. But I love the actual truth behind it all, and that the fact that there had to be ancient aliens. How can anyone deny it at this point? There's too many similarities all over the freaking world that where things are the same everywhere.
Right.
Like
the world was connected, or they wouldn't all have the same information.
And the fact that they find like graves of civilizations that are across the world from where that civilization was known to be, like,
yep.
Explain this to me without. They can't. No one can explain it unless they say.
The Hopi Indians, which I'm gonna go on a spiritual quest, someday here soon. I take care of my elderly mother, and she's literally in dying process. I'm not saying that lightly. I just don't want to talk about it. But like the Hopi Indians, they say they came from the star people, but from in the ground. And, the theory from scientists is always, well, natives crossed the land bridge from, Asia to America, whatever.
Yeah.
But there are native tribes that their DNA cannot be linked to any other humans on this planet.
Which makes sense, because they're leftovers from when we were either cloned by extraterrestrials and created by extraterrestrials, or brought here from an extraterrestrial planet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which possibility it is, Lord knows. But I mean, God's know. I mean, whatever phrase you want to use. But it's just, I tend to think we were genetically. I don't know. I think it can go both ways. Actually, I think actually that natives were from another planet originally, and I think that white people were bred here. We were basically genetically bred here by extraterrestrials as slaves, and then eventually they went home or fought each other and killed each other, and we were left here to defend for ourselves and have to evolve somehow to figure out how to survive.
Yeah, that's the part I forgot to tell you about, the terrifying story you asked me about. Those are called draconians, the aliens.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that made us slaves. And those are the ones that just want chaos for us all the time. And yeah.
I forget the name of them, but I interviewed Damien Dumar, who he's a publisher. He published Lucien Mars books, which Lucien passed away recently, actually, sadly. Well, passed away in a sense, I should say, because he was a vampiric reptilian. And which I didn't know vampire. I didn't know those two words ever went together, but apparently they do. And apparently they were involved on Earth for a lot longer than humans were ever here. So
yeah.
And apparently they were at war with other species. So it makes sense. I mean, it adds up to everything I believe in already, but it's just to get people to actually like say like, oh yeah, you're right. It's just like, hold up now. What'd you just say? Yeah. Okay. I'll take it. I'm right.
I know. That's why it's like, you got, when you're someone like me, you gotta like, my circle of friends is small. Like, there's a small percentage of people that actually get you. And especially when you're a really strong empath, you don't people very well. I animal much better than I people, though I do have clients that I try to heal people and heal the world and raise the vibration of the world. But
I mean, it makes sense because I never peopled really well my whole life. And my parents always tried to say they put me in therapy because I was immature, but I was just like, I'm not immature. People just don't get the stuff I'm into. Like, that's not my fault. Like, I can't help that everybody my age is into stupid stuff that I want no part of. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be part
I've
of something
never
better.
thought like other people ever. Even when I was a little kid, I've never thought like other people. And I love my half hillbilly relatives, but some of them, they weren't like outward racist, but I knew it was there.
Oh yeah.
And just like whatever those influences are that come in at you as a kid, I just never picked up on any of those. I was literally like, and to this day, just saw people for who they are. And are you a good person or a bad person? And that's all I need to know. And I was like that even as a kid. So I never took in any of that out for whatever reason. I never took in any of that crazy outside noise.
Exactly, which I never did either. I just I learned to love being a loner before I learned to love being around other people. Like, that's just the way it was. Like, but
yeah.
All right. Well, in the last 10-ish minutes we have of this, since you keep saying you're a nature person, and I gotta ask, I want to hear your theory on if you believe and what you think Bigfoots are.
Well, I think they're the missing link, but they can definitely walk through portals and come back and forth. Yeah.
So, would you say you agree with the ultra-terrestrial theory more than the extraterrestrial theory for them?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, you're definitely not the first person on this show to say that, and I have a hard time deciding between two always, because I mean. Or, well, once again, I always kind of combine both in my head. I'm like, what if they're extraterrestrials that are stuck here and can't leave the planet, but yet they can create portals to put them in other parts of the planet or something, where, what if they can teleport, basically? What if they basically have the ability to teleport, like, mentally, just open these portals to, like, another part of the woods they live in, so that if they hear humans coming, they can just disappear really fast?
They do.
Oh, they do. I mean, and that would explain it, though, but I have a hard time with it.
Since I live in Utah, that's all I'm going to say, because stalkers allowed.
I was going to say, don't go for.
If you are familiar with Skinwalker Ranch,
very, very.
Been there, not on the ranch. But I've been there, out there, and yeah, same thing. You'll see things come through portals. You'll see animals come through portals, even like coyotes and stuff. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, that definitely makes sense, because I've watched the first 2 seasons of Secret Skinwalker Ranch, and some of the stuff they get on camera is like kind of like, why is the government allowing them to finally show this stuff? And that's
because the government's end game is to pretend like the aliens are coming to get us, and they're trying to make it look like, oh, now we need to like go to war with the aliens. And it's like, no, they've been there like longer than us, and we're still here. So anyone that believes that is, sorry, I'm just gonna say it, is a fucking idiot.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of agree, because I mean,
if they wanted us gone, we'd be gone.
I mean, they tested this theory out with War of the Worlds, and back almost 80 years ago. So I mean, now they tested it, and now they know it works. That people are going to freak the hell out when it happens. So now they've just been holding their pocket, waiting for the right time. So
I know it's just another way for the military-industrial complex to make a lot of money and kill a lot of people. So
yep.
We're hoping to prevent that.
Well, and actually, since you said you've been to Skinwalker Ranch and you're in Utah, have you heard of Dogmen?
Dogmen?
Dogmen. It's actually it goes back to Native Americans too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well,
there's different names for it, like the Wendigo.
Oh, no, actually, no. The Wendigo and the Skinwalker are different from Dogmen.
Okay.
They're all different. No, it's not. Of course, it's all fine. It's fine. They're all different entities, is the best way to put it. Like, they're all their individual. Like,
this is cool. I'm going to learn something new now. I want to know. Yeah.
Skinwalkers, I mean, I'm sure you know that. You're from Utah and you're native, so I'm sure you know that mythology like backhand. But
Yeah.
Wendigo, I'm sure the same thing. Wendigo and Skinwalker are more closely related than Dogmen to any of these things. But I mean, Wendigo is basically the cold north cousin of the Skinwalker in a way. I mean, it's a little different. It's created differently, and it's a lot scarier, I think. I mean, actually, I don't know. They're both kind of scary. But Dogmen are basically what most people in the paranormal field believe that the idea of werewolves came from. Except they're not like werewolves. The full moon has nothing to do with them, as far as we know.
So like the Beast of Bray Road?
Exactly. The Beast of Bray Road's a prime example of it. The Beast of the Land Between the Lakes.
Okay.
Like, it's...
I like them.
It's basically... Yeah, Lycan's a good term for it. I mean, kind of, if you don't go by the pop culture version of Lycan. But, I mean...
No, not like the movie version. Like the mythology. Like,
yeah.
actual, yeah.
I mean, I love Underworld Rise of the Lycans, but that's kind of...
Yeah, but no, not that. Yeah.
But, I mean... Dogmen are basically werewolves that full moon doesn't affect them. Silver bullets may just piss them off, and they can't change the human form. They are permanently just dogs that can act like men and stand up and walk or run at you, or they can run on all fours too if they really want to catch you, because they will.
Yeah.
There have been many murders associated with dogmen and believed to be dogmen attacks, but dogmen have been known by native cultures as long as native cultures have said things about Bigfoot as well. Like, it's just always been there, which it kind of, in my mind at least, it's kind of the same as like Bigfoot. Like, are they ultra or extraterrestrial, or have they always just been here? Have they always been a species on Earth that were just here since the beginning of time and we didn't know it? Or we knew it, but our ancestors knew it. Like back in cave days, they knew it.
People are going to start to be, other people are going to start to like really lose their shit when they realize that all of these things that are written in pictographs and carved on the walls and all of these things that were actually real.
Oh.
All of these legends from Greece were actually real, but the stories have been butchered over time, but they were actually real.
Oh, I mean, there's a society, the NADP, that actually tracks like Dogmen stories from people and Dogmen sightings, and the map they have on their site is just horrifying. If it's that spread out through America, like where all these encounters are. I mean,
I'm gonna have to Google this.
It's literally in every state, except Hawaii, of course, because nothing's in Hawaii because it's a freaking island. But
they actually have a lot of. If you go up in the mountains, you're warned a lot by the natives of spirits there.
Oh, the night marchers are a real thing out there. So but I used to watch this show that was on Discovery back in like 2010 about, it was only one season, but it was about like people trying to survive in that Hawaiian wilderness and like live off the land. And there's everything. They always had to be inside by dark because of the night marchers.
Yeah. Kind of like in Ireland, you don't build your house in the path of the fairies. Your life's going to be absolute shit.
You don't mess with fairies. That's something I've been told many times, and that's something I truly uphold by, because fairies are fairies, fates, elementals, whatever you want to call them. They're definitely real to some degree.
I carry sprites with me. Like I'll see them come in and out of me, and then like people will start to get like feel poked by them. It's kind of funny because I have that in me too. So it's those kind of fairies, like the elementals. It's kind of like skinwalkers. You're gonna get back from it what you're giving off. So if you're going in there with fear or disrespect or, those kind of vibes, you're going to get a bad interaction with it. Yeah, if you go in with respect of you're allowed to be here and this is your space and I'm just coming with love, you get a different experience. But
it makes sense.
you definitely can't mess with the land. I mean, it's kind of like you don't build your freaking house where Native Americans are buried. I mean, come on, this is the same thing.
Oh, we've all seen Poltergeist, but and I've known some people in real life who actually lived in houses built on top of burial grounds, and they didn't realize it until things started happening, and they looked into it. But yeah, it's not pretty. It's not pretty. But
oh my god,
and I can't
that would be a
believe it.
disaster. Oh my god.
And I honestly can't believe it's been an hour already. This has been an amazing conversation, and we may have to do a part 2 at some point. We may have to because there's still so many things that haven't been touched on, and this is your first technically real podcast, podcast, I should say, not real. It's technically your first podcast, so I am honored to bust that cherry wide open for you because podcasting is joy and fun and a way to relax after a long day. So
yeah,
especially when you're talking about stuff like this. I mean, come on. It's well, most of what we talked about. Some stuff we talked about was serious and was not a joking matter. But I like to have a little bit of both in every episode so that people don't think I'm all jokes or people don't think I'm all serious. You got to have a good middle ground, you know. But
well, if people go to my website, which I sent you, there's a place out there that says like sessions. I have to have messaging back and forth to book my things just because of my life and how it works. So right now I don't have it set up where people can just set up their own appointment. But sessions are only $40, and it doesn't matter how deep or how far we go because I want people to be able to afford things that they need to heal and move forward. I mean, when we're paying $18 for freaking eggs, I'm not going to do that to people. So
that's why I'm happy I have chickens.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm happy that we have chickens. But yeah. So tell the people where they can find you.
So
all your socials.
Everything is just psychic empath Raven Willow. Whether it's Instagram, whether it's my website, TikTok, it's all the same. My Facebook, I haven't changed it. It's still my personal name, I think, but whatever. I don't think that's linked right now. But and the YouTube, you can get my YouTube and watch it from my website and get to my Instagram from my website. TikTok, I have not linked to my website because I just got kind of forced into it by my friends and I hate it. And yeah.
Yeah, my TikTok hasn't been touched in a while. I need to start getting active on it again. As a podcaster, it's kind of important. But
I do my thing and then I just turn the volume down and turn it off. It's on my iPad so that I don't have to look at it and yeah.
Nice. Well, I want to thank Raven for coming on because it's been an amazing show, and we'll definitely be doing a part 2 at some point, folks. So look forward to that in the future. Don't know when yet, but it'll happen in the future at some point. But you all know where you can find me. If you're new and you don't know, just listen to the outro. It's all there. I don't like to say it every time because it gets annoying. But it's in the outro. You'll hear it. And remember, wherever you're listening or watching, like and subscribe. It does follow me. It does a big benefit, and it makes me know people want to see it, actually. Not that I will stop regardless, but it just helps. And until next time, thank you all for listening and watching. It has been an absolute pleasure to bring you this great episode, along with all the other great episodes I brought in the past, and all the ones that are coming up still. But thank you, Raven, for coming on. And until next time, folks, remember, the world's not normal. Never will be. Get used to it.
Bye, man.
Have a good night, everybody.